Hi everyone, thanks for joining ImmuVlog today. I'll be discussing a release from Immigration and Customs Enforcement in this episode that tremendously impacts F1 international students in the US or those seeking to obtain visas or enter the US. I'll provide an overview of the released guidance, what this means for students, and then provide a few tips on where individuals might want to go from here. Before jumping in, as a reminder, this vlog is not intended to substitute for legal counsel, and it's always advised that individuals set up time to speak with an immigration attorney, get a consultation, assess where to go from here, and the same applies in this scenario as well. I'm Hendrik, Pretorius, CEO and attorney at ImmiPartner. I'm a California bar-certified legal specialist in immigration and nationality law. And please feel free to get additional information about our firm, ImmiPartner, services that we provide in the bio below. Okay, so let's get started here. Unfortunately, we again find ourselves having to decipher and figure out additional guidance that has been put out under the Trump administration, and to see and understand which group of individuals are affected. So on July 6, 2020, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement released this guidance that puts roughly 1 million students in the U.S. kind of in jeopardy and in a tough position, especially under COVID-19, having to figure out, are they still going to be able to maintain their F1 student status in the U.S. through their institution of higher education, or not? And if not, really where do they go from here? This is certainly also very difficult, not only for the students but for U.S. academic institutions already dealing with a lot of difficulties under COVID-19, and this is really also an impact overall to innovation in the U.S. in terms of companies having this additional source of very talented individuals to work for them, either while they're studying or after they study on an H-1B or some other visa type. So let's get into the guidance. There's really three groupings provided in the guidance that was released. So the first grouping, and even before we get to that, just stepping back, kind of the general rule for students in the U.S., typically those in F1 status, are that they must be enrolled and attending a full course of study. Typically, that is, in-person studies. There is a carve-out for online courses with a limitation that a student cannot exceed more than 3 units or one course during a semester as part of their full course load to be maintaining their F1 student status. So that's kind of the status quo. Now, as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, for the last 2 semesters, that was relaxed. Individuals could take online courses, and then this guidance has come out, which now clearly changes that. So let's take a look at the changes. So the guidance provides kind of 3 buckets. The first bucket talks about students who are enrolled and attending schools who are now going to operate entirely through online courses. And there are many institutions doing this due to COVID-19, including Harvard and other, very prestigious schools. So individuals, the guidance clearly provides that individuals attending schools operating entirely online may not take a full online course load and remain in the United States. The guidance goes on to say that the Department of State will not issue visas to students enrolled in these schools, and that U.S. Customs and Border Protection will not permit these students to enter the United States. So individuals, the students in this bucket, are definitely going to have to figure out what their next move is, because this is clearly problematic. The second bucket of individuals addressed here are those attending schools that are operating under normal in-person classes. So there are some schools, that do plan in the fall semester to operate as normal, or at least have in-person classes as an option. In that scenario, the guidance provides that, or reminds us, kind of the general rule that I mentioned earlier, where a student is eligible to take a maximum of 1 class or 3 credit hours online, kind of as part of that full course load. The third grouping addresses individuals who are attending schools adopting a hybrid model. Now, this is a mixture of online and in-person classes, and the guidance provides that these schools have to get certified by SEVP, the Student and Exchange Visitor Program, and schools have to get certified through this SEVP. And in that case, if they are certified, and in getting that certified, it needs to be shown that the program is not entirely online, that the student is not taking an entirely online course load that semester, and that the student is taking the minimum number of online classes required to make normal progress in their degree program. So there's going to be, a number of factors that have to be proven here. But if this school is operating under this hybrid model, it is possible that more than 3 credit hours of online courses can be taken. So those are the 3 buckets. In terms of what students should do from here. So as a first step, students need to be in close contact with the designated school official at their school to understand which program the schools, so essentially what category does the school and the individual fall under? Is it only online, or is there a hybrid? If it's a hybrid model, where is the school in kind of getting certification and what's possible there? If it's clear that as a student, you are not going to be able to stay enrolled and maintaining your F1 student status at your chosen institution, you need to consider what other immigration options exist. Are you a graduate level student with a lot of experience in a very niche area? Is there an employer? Could you apply for an O1 or some other visa type that would allow you to work in the U.S. while you, with a plan to go back to school later perhaps? Is it possible that there is a situation where you just cannot leave the U.S. based on the country that you're returning to and travel restrictions, where you could apply temporarily for a visitor visa to buy some time? You really need to work with an attorney, understand all your options there, and see what might be possible. Or if you're going to leave the U.S., can you still study from outside the U.S. with a plan to obtain a visa and come back in later when things normalize a little bit? So certainly understanding options is very critical as well, and then really understanding as well what's required to maintain valid visa status, because you do not want to find yourself thinking that you're maintaining valid visa status and then 6 months or a year from now realize you haven't been, and then potential bars to reentry might apply. So absolutely, speak with immigration counsel, understand the options you have, but also work very closely with the school and try to understand which of the categories one falls under. So this is certainly unfortunate news that came out, that that this exemption on online classes was not going to continue and be extended. It's not all that surprising based on a lot of efforts the Trump administration is making in making it more challenging for lawful immigration to take place. But hopefully that was useful as a summary and provides at least some action items. We are always happy to speak to anybody to answer kind of fact-specific questions. If you found this video useful, please subscribe, turn on notifications. Feel free to leave comments and feedback for us as well. Thank you for your time, and take care.